Luke. Good afternoon. My name is Katie MacArthur, and today I'll be talking to you about exotic animal adoption. You ever walked through a zoo and thought, wow, I want one of those animals, or that's so cool? Well, believe it or not, you can actually have most of those animals. But you have to buy them, obviously, from an exotic dealer or a wildlife licensed dealer. Anybody licensed. Being that I have two of my own exotics, a veiled chameleon and a chinchilla, I know the price and how much they cost, and honestly, how much time and effort that it takes to deal with them. Not in a bad way, though. So I'm just going to do this to give you a little bit of an insight on, what it really is like to own an exotic and work with one. I'm going to kind of give you a little definition of what exotic is and, pricing and what adoption really is. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background, too, about how this first came about and, who started it. I'm going to let you know what they need, and I'm going to let you know what their price is. So whenever I was looking up, I needed an exact definition for, an exotic. Anyway, encyclopedia.com said that that's an exotic is any non-native animal that this animal, obviously, or a species of plant or anything that's not from here that we bring here. And then I looked up adoption, and Merriam-Webster website said adoption is to pick a relationship or to claim something or love something that is not yours. So a little bit of history that I got from Atlas Obscura is that pirates actually brought the exotic animals, birds, anything that's from a foreign place here to the rich, because the rich were the only ones that really could afford it. They brought tigers, mostly parrots and monkeys and small animals. So that's why we all normally relate the exotics with the rich, because they had them. Some requirements for them of the animal is obviously that you need permits, you need a license and everything else, but let me give you some examples. Big Cat Rescue had some examples of what their exotics are, and they're kinkajous, hedgehogs, meerkats, prairie dogs, most animals. Sorry. One Green Planet also talked about how they have so many requirements that you must have vet bills and, a vet on staff for your animal. And while that may not seem like a big ordeal, it really is, because you have to have someone who you can go to or come to you. And being that these are exotic animals, it's much harder to find a vet that knows and can legally practice and work with these animals. They must have toys, believe it or not, and they need heat and air, and you wouldn't think that, but they really do, because in their housing, because they're not really made for the weather we have here compared to where they are. They also need water and, maybe swimming areas, because it's so easy for animals to overheat, especially in this Mississippi humidity we have. It's not what they should be used to or are used to. Believe it or not, but One Green Planet also stated that it can cost about $15,000 for just a cat. Anywhere, obviously it can range from $1,000 to $15,000, sometimes more. But that honestly depends on the species, and then their age, and then what line they came from, and then their coat. It really just depends on anything. Being that obviously an animal can cost as much as they do, you have to think about, if that animal costs as much as it does, what about their enclosure? Well, for an example of big cats that Big Cat Rescue gave us that big cats need an 8 to 10 foot tall fence. They need at least 5 acres that is all fenced in. They must have housing that includes hair and eat, obviously, and you must have the permits. And while you may not think that's a lot, it can cost you anywhere from $60,000 to $120,000. You may not think that's a lot, but it's a lot. And then that's just for the getting started. That doesn't cost their annual fees, and that's anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. And while that really, you think, oh wow, if they're rich, they probably have the money anyway. Well, that's technically not true, because so many of these organizations that adopt animals from bad situations, they really don't have the money to throw this around, but they're doing it for a good cause. But yeah, they're expensive, really expensive. Oh, and all these prices, I would like to add, did only include, the necessary things. They did not include, if your line escapes and it kills somebody or hurts somebody or it bounces somebody and they sue you. So, you could always add a couple million in there too for that. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight on what it's really like to, have a wild animal or exotic animal. Like, the pricing and how much they are, really just how needy and intricate that they are, that they require so much more than we realize. And then I'm glad that I gave you all a little bit of the history, because you really need to know that the exotic phase is not just a now thing. It didn't just happen within the last 10 years. It's always been a thing, really. And it's crazy, I know. But anyway, my purpose today was just to let you guys know a little bit about exotic animals and what they really are all about. And that you don't need one. You may just need to go to the zoo and look at them from now on. Thank you.